Hello, I'm Nathan Judah. That is Wolverhampton Wanderers reporter, Mr. Liam Keane, and we are back, baby. Another season, and we've left Wolverhampton. We've come to slightly sunnier parts, and we are in beautiful Marbella, Spain. We have just watched our first session. Mr. Gary O'Neill putting the squad through their paces, and I thought it all looked pretty good actually on the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, Gary came over and said hello to us, and our bosses will be delighted to hear that he said...
well, he's already said more to us than Lopetegui said last year. Let's be honest.
He said that
hello.
He said that our bosses are very good to us for paying to take us out here. So,
yes.
Of course, our sponsors, Ronin, are helping with that happening.
Thank you very much, Ronin. Absolutely.
But yeah, look, great to have a very brief chat with Gary, a couple of the backroom staff, and then watch the training session. Yeah, it was really good. Look, considering the weather, I mean, it is. I mean, you can tell from the video, I'm sure, without feeling
they can't, because you're still white. You're like Casper.
Yeah, that's not going to change. It is roasting.
Oh,
I mean,
it
is hot. So they're doing.
It is Diogo.
It is Jota. As they normally do with pre-season trips, they'll do double sessions during the day, but avoid the sort of hottest period of the day, which will be midday, 1-2ish in the afternoon.
Yeah.
You definitely want to avoid that, considering how hot it is now.
I mean, they've still trained here in probably 28-degree heat, even though it's the morning session.
It might have been more than that, to be honest.
Yeah.
So morning session. They'll have another one later tonight before dinner, and obviously
that'll be both days split 10 a.m, 5 p.m, and normally if they're doing double sessions in the day, that'll be what it is.
Or every day, aside from I'm sure they'll be given a day off here and there as well. So yeah, a lot of it was because it was only an hour 10 roughly. There's only so much you can get into that. So there's a lot of sort of camaraderie building, bringing the new lads into the squad, letting everyone fit in, and then it's very much sort of quick, fast-paced work. So a lot of short passing drills to start. Then it moved into sort of set-piece work on the other pitch over there, on this pitch here, doing a lot of full pitch 11, working through the thirds. And Gary and his coaches are very, very involved, on the pitch. If a ball goes out of play, all of a sudden a ball's thrown into play. Very much involved carries the whistle around with him the whole time. He's very loud and very hands-on. So it was a good session. We saw all the new lads and the vast majority of the squad, apart from a couple of omissions.
Yeah, I mean, look, they've only just returned to pre-season, so I was actually quite pleasantly surprised that it was very much part of a game tactics here. We got to see formations, we got to see how Gary O'Neill wants to operate, we got to see the 3 new signings, well, 4 if you include Tommy Doyle, but the 3 new signings. What did you make of them, and where were they playing? Because obviously a lot of fans want to know what you've seen, how did they look, what side were they playing, and what positional. I mean, look, it's very early days, of course, and there's certain players who aren't here yet, who are going to be joining up with the team, in the United States, a lot of the Portuguese guys. But at this moment in time, what did you make of, let's say, the 3 new players to start with?
Pedro Lima, as expected, out on the right-hand side, wing back, right back positions. I think he's going to need a little bit of work in terms of filling out, but he has only just turned 18, not particularly massive physically, but he is quick, good on the ball.
Very good on the ball.
Really, really forward thinking as well. So yeah, I think he looks quite an exciting prospect once he gets an opportunity to get used to Premier League football. So I think he needs a little bit of patience, but definitely looks like a good player. I'll come back to Rodrigo Gomez at the end because it was slightly more interesting, I felt. But we had Jorgen Strand Larsen obviously playing as number 9. He is the number 9.
Big boy.
Big lad, 6'4".
Big boy.
6'4", huge. But really good with his feet, technical, running in behind, didn't look slow. Sometimes you see sort of big strikers and they almost go through the motions a little bit, and he didn't look like that. Someone who was getting in behind, someone who was a willing runner as well as someone to hold the ball up. But a lot of the drills they were doing were very much running in behind, in between the thirds, triangles out wide, trying to get crosses in. So it was he did some really good finishes. I think he looks like a really handy player. And Rodrigo Gomez, he can play either wing, can play either flank. Did play a lot last season on the right, and he was actually lining up on the left here with Bellegarde on the right. Sometimes wing back, sometimes forward. They were sort of testing different formations out, 4s and 5s. Very similar to last season, really, where Wolves played very much a hybrid system, depending on whether they were in possession or out of possession. So it's maybe a small surprise to see him out on the left, not the right, but he is versatile. He can play on either side, and I think clearly they see Bellegarde as maybe out on this right side for the time being. So yeah, definitely plenty to see in just a first hour session.
And this is the perfect time to test these things out, test these theories out, test, can he make it in from the left? Is it going to be a right-hand sided player? Is he going to be a right midfielder, right forward? Is he going to be a bit more defensively because he's played right wing back at times? So this is the time to try it out, and I actually thought that everyone looked pretty strong.
And Gary said this himself publicly last season, that he likes sort of inverted wide players. So having Gomez out on the left as a right footer is potentially where he sees him moving forward, because he's spoken about having Doc out on the wrong side a couple of times previously last season when they had injuries. So yeah, no, it was a worthwhile session for us to come down and watch, especially on the first full day in Marbella. It's good to see the team back in action.
Yeah, just a word on maybe a surprise potentially to some who was here and players that aren't. So Daniel Podence is here. Gonzalo Guedes and Fabio Silva are not. Correct.
Fabio Silva and Guedes, it won't come as a surprise that the chances are, provided their move can be found, that they will leave the club. I think permanent deals would be something of a preference for all parties, but whether that is reality or not, with the money the Wolves I'm sure will want to recoup, considering they spent £62.5 million combined on these two players, will be one to certainly watch. But yeah, as it stands, certainly not part of the plans here. Strange things have happened. We'll see how the next rest of pre-season goes, but that is state of play at the moment. We've got Podence, you mentioned, who is here. A little bit of a surprise to see him here, I think, to be honest, considering that it's been pretty clear his future's, it lies away from Wolves. It's a never say never scenario probably with him, but his long-term future is very likely still not going to be at Wolves. He's made it pretty clear that he wants to stay in Greece, or at least make a different move elsewhere. I think it's likely he doesn't stay, but we were talking about it here. If the player goes in, has a word with Gary, says he wants to be here, you never know. So I think it's one to keep an eye on again.
I mean, fans and journalists as well will look at last season and say, if Daniel Podence was here, he would have played a lot of games. He played a lot of games, a lot of forward positions, a lot of injuries, that if he was fully fit, then he would have probably potentially made the difference in a couple of big games. However, you've got to read what Gary O'Neill says, and he's spoken about it last season, saying he's only going to have players who want to be here, and I guess we'll work that out, and he'll work that out sooner rather than later, especially on this camp.
Well, and the perfect example of that is Fabio Silva, just as the season was ending, coming out in an interview publicly and saying, I don't want to be at Wolves, making it very, very clear. And that's his prerogative, and that's fine, and that's the same with any other player that makes a decision about their future. And it's Gary's prerogative to not have that player around the squad.
Sure.
So that's the reason why those two aren't here.
It's all about the group. That's the most important thing for Gary.
Exactly. It's all about the culture. It's the phrase that he uses consistently. So that's going to be an interesting one with Podence, because, I mean, we've said it publicly. It's been pretty public knowledge that he's not always the easiest person to work with. I think he can be a little bit spiky at times. So I think it depends really, in many ways, what the player wants. If he wants to stay, I think Gary may be able to find a place for him. Again, there'll be tactical reasons why Gary may or may not want him as well. But certainly given, at the very least, an opportunity because he's here, despite the fact it's still unlikely that he probably moves on.
I'm a little bit worried that Daniel Podence is here.
Rather, he moves on. Carry on.
I'm a little bit worried he's here.
Why is that?
Because there's a pre-season game behind closed doors against Como on Monday, and we all remember what the Battle of Benidorm was. We don't want any scraps.
And Mosquera's here as well.
I know, of course, it's all going to kick off.
Mosquera and
Wolves are down to 9 already.
Exactly. I mean, that was an unbelievable game to watch. Actually, just very quickly.
You mentioned Mosquera there, maybe just a little bit on him as well.
Well, just before that, I just want to explain a couple of the players that aren't around here, just so, because I know we had a lot of questions about this. Sarr, Semedo, Neto, João Gomez and Lembikisa, all because of international reasons, played for their countries recently. Won't be here till a little bit later. Joe Hodge not here.
When you say later, we're expecting USA.
We're expecting USA, partway through USA as well, actually, for all of them. We've then got Joe Hodge, who is back at Compton. They're hoping to get him a loan move fairly quickly.
Swiftly.
And then we've got the final two, Enzo Gonzalez, Boubacar Traoré, are both with Paraguay and Mali respectively at the Olympics, so that's why they're not here at the moment. And then you just mentioned Mosquera. Yeah, we talk about players not wanting to be here. I don't for a second believe that he doesn't want to be here, but he did publicly say in interviews last season that he would like to stay in Spain. I think, and I said this at the time, I always felt it was a young player in an interview saying what he thought was the right thing to say for the people he was in front of in the interview.
What people want to hear.
Exactly, what people wanted to hear. If he has an opportunity to play for Wolves in the Premier League and be part of a great club in the best league in the world, he's not turning that down. So unless Wolves find a deal that they think is financially suitable to them, He won't be going anywhere, and Wolves are very clear that they want to keep him. Gary O'Neill wants to keep him, and he was a big part of this training session. So unless anything drastically changes, Mosquera will be part of the squad next season.
A few eagle-eyed cherries asking about Hwang Hee-chan. He wasn't pictured. He was doing individual work, but he has travelled. He is in Marbella.
Great reference there, by the way. Eagle-eyed cherry, lovely.
Yeah,
Love
mind
that.
idea.
Yeah, nice.
Look, we're going to be here all week. We've got so much coverage. We're going to be doing the podcast this afternoon, our first podcast. We're going to be doing 4 or 5 over the next few weeks, so we can't wait. It's great to be back. And I know we've said it, I know we've plugged it, but if you haven't already, £2 to watch, to read, to listen to absolutely everything, all of our content. Look, it's not going to make us rich overnight. We're not seeing any of it, but we want you to be able to have all the content there at your fingertips. And look, it's ad-free, it's £2, it's for this tour, it's for the USA tour, it's for the diary, it's for everything. It's a no-brainer, right?
Absolutely, and the ad-free thing's really important. I think we need to keep making people aware of
no
that.
Pop-ups, no ads, no nothing.
You click onto the Switch to Plus on the website, it takes you to the or the completely ad-free website, which is
it's night and day.
Very nice.
Night and day.
Very nice to read.
6p a day.
So yeah, definitely worth it. And we'll hopefully have you all along for the ride.
Great stuff. We'll be back at training this evening, and then there's some sort of game tonight.
Oh yeah, is it? Oh, who's playing?
Slovakia and Georgia.
That'd be a good game, actually.
Decent game,
decent game, attacking game.
Yeah, at least see some goals.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, England.
Fingers crossed, let's see that.